And here we are. Here we are, Miss Christy Nevada. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. You know, it's funny because you're a much harder worker than I am, considering you've already been live today for a couple hours.
Yeah, yeah. I got some body cam and some other stuff dropped this morning, and I was showing some of that.
Yeah, and I stopped by over there. I always
Yep.
want to make sure that I give you some love and support. For those that are in the crowd, I think many of you guys know Christy Nevada. One of my favorite people. You and I have known and interacted with each other since probably the beginning of the Idaho 4, right?
Yeah, yeah. I found you. Yeah, it was not long. I want to say maybe a month or two after the case started, maybe
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
when I was back in the day, at the beginner with no thumbnails and
Yeah.
just no idea even what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah. I think you only had like I don't know, I maybe 3,000 subscribers or something. You were little. You were like where I am now.
Well, and that's where we all begin to grow, and it really came down to the fact the other reason why I was ever able to get to the places where I was is other creators really helped me. They promoted me, and I'm excited. I'm excited. You and I have talked about doing this, and today was just a great day for it to all come together.
Yes, I've been waiting. We have spoke about it a few times and just never got to do it. So
Well, I think it's a good thing that we could potentially kind of introduce to everybody that Christy Nevada and I are in discussions behind the scenes, and we want to make this a little more often than not, to where maybe we can get together weekly or maybe even twice a week. And I really am excited because of your hard work and the things that you've been doing, because you bring the realness out with the real and true body cam, the unedited, the uncut. And I know you're having a lot of struggle right now when it comes to YouTube and the monetization, but I would love it if you could just explain to everybody what you actually do and how you get all of that footage and how much of a pain in the butt that is for it. Let's,
yes. Well, it depends on where I'm requesting it from, to be honest, because Washington, Washington State, they're pretty hard, but I just go on to whatever, whether it's Pullman, Moscow, Washington, any of them uh, websites. You just do a FOIA or a public request, or whatever one it's labeled as, and you just put in what you want. You usually got to put in, dates or case numbers. The more you can put in, the better. And then you submit it. They have to respond to you within a few days. And usually I get response with another email asking me like questions, or Moscow, like they'll call a lot when they get mine. She's like, her name's Amber. She's really, really nice too there. She'll call me and she'll like, okay, instead of us going back and forth on emails, let's just talk about this. I can give you this and I can give you that. And I really like her. Pullman, they're not as easy. They seem to like to mess with me a lot. So you just got to wait, and then they'll send it to you. And then once you get it in your email, you have to download it, which it takes up a lot of your space, because they send you a lot of things that honestly, I open them and look at them, but I don't know why they even sent it to me. Like, you know what I mean? There's just some really stupid stuff in them at times, but yeah, and that's how I do it. And then I have to then take it from my email, download it, put it in a zip file, then move it. So when I go to do a video, I can, then download it from there. And that's what hurt me, was I would get them and then I would just go to YouTube and download them, because I didn't want to edit them. I wanted everybody to see them raw. And I didn't realize that I had to do a reaction to video to my own videos. And that's what got me. So YouTube will not monetize me for the body cam for that reason. So I was telling my crew earlier that I'm not sure what to do with that. You and me just spoke about that too. I wasn't sure about starting another channel and, trying again, even though I know how hard it is to even get subscribers. So, but because of that being raw and unedited, they just don't like me.
Well, that's where I think you and we could work together and we can smooth this out. I want everybody to fully understand that Christy Nevada, I have a lot of respect for your hard work, and everything that I want to put into the mix here is in benefit of Christy. I don't want to benefit from this at all. So anytime, because of this issue that we're having of getting you monetized, I want people in the chat to understand that when I do a live with Christy Nevada, and she just learned this today, we just talked about this. These lives are to benefit Christy. So anything donation wise that come through is going to be for Christy. If you do decide that you wanted to make some sort of super chat or something in my direction, make sure that you put AR or something on it to let me know that it would be for myself. Otherwise, the profits of these lives are going to go directly to Christy Nevada, including what I make through AdSense. So these lives are literally for Christy Nevada. Both we want to grow her, we want to get her the exposure, we want to get things out there that people understand the hard work that you do. But we also want to expand and make sure it's worth your time, because this is not easy, ladies and gentlemen. This is not easy.
No,
And
not at all.
I do kind of wonder. And do you feel as though you've built a bond with the people when you fill out these requests, the FOIA requests, to get the information back that you do? The people you interact with on the phone, like I know you already said, the people with Moscow seem to be a little bit easier, a little bit better than the people with Pullman. Do you feel like you're building a bond with them while you're doing this?
In Moscow, yes. The rest of them, not so much. They don't. Washington, I've never actually spoke to anybody there, and their emails are usually, yeah, sorry, or you got to pay. Like, they're pretty cold with their stuff. But Moscow, surprisingly, I do. Pullman a little bit, not as much as Moscow, but yeah, you definitely do. And they learn, they get to learn you too, so it's nice, because there's times where, I'll put in something and maybe I mismark something, or because you got to mark whether it's email or however, and sometimes I'll miss it, and Amber will just either call me or send a text and be like, I think you missed something. I think you want an email, right? And I'm like, yes. Oh my gosh, thank you. So yeah, you do.
I
After
think
doing it enough.
it probably matters how you come across with them as well in regards to your requests, but how you present yourself to them. With, if you're willing to work with them and be patient, they're probably more willing to work with you. I know when I reached out to Pennsylvania, and I'm telling you, I want that body cam of Brian Koberger's interrogation, and I want the audio, and I want the video, I want everything. And they've been very, very polite with me. They've worked very well with me, even though they're declining at the time to be able to move forward in getting that stuff to me. They're letting me know that the minute that they can do it, that I have that potential to get that, which is very nice of them. Rather than just shutting me down completely, they answer the questions. And I think that's because, I started off with a laugh. I give them a little bit of humor. I tried to just make their day a little bit easier. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, maybe they give me a little bit more love. So, I mean, do you feel as though, just in your feelings while dealing with this, that they're holding anything back, or they could potentially be hiding anything? Or do you think they've been pretty open with sharing you with the information?
Oh no, they're hiding. I feel they're hiding because it there's just certain things that I know I should be able to get that they tell me I shouldn't be able to get. And when I when I would bring up I'm trying to think of an incident. There was a sharp item incident used, and I called about that one. And the first one I mentioned, she was all, yeah, 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 okay, we'll send it, we'll do this, we'll do that. The next one, she immediately just shut off. There was no, it was just no, I can't do that one, sorry. So that made me feel there was something being hidden.
As if maybe you were getting too close and digging a little bit too close to to their
Well,
little
honestly,
pocketbook.
once that happened, that's when she called me, because that was on a Friday. She called me Monday and told me I was shut off at that point. I still had like 30 requests in, and she's like, I that's when she told me that there was the new law, and that if you don't live in state, you're going to get charged and all this other. And I couldn't figure that out because nobody else said that. I watched many other creators pull out body cam, and they're like, I just got this, or, and I'm thinking, well, how's that? So I actually got back a hold of her, and I asked her, I said, why am I the only one being shut off and everybody else is getting it? And she's like, well, it's because you were the first one I talked to, and I've got to now let everybody else know. And it
Hmm.
was like 2.5, 3 weeks before I finally heard another creator mention it. And I
Wow.
just I just feel like I got too close to something, and they they did that.
Do you have you found that they've financially tried to gain from this
Oh,
through?
100%.
Okay. So they're obviously beginning to actually see that they could charge people to get these things that are supposed to be free.
Hmm.
And that's pretty sad that they would do something like that, because I've been around cases for a long time. I've even had people, way back when, requesting some of this stuff for my cases, and it never seemed like there was any charges. It was emails. I mean, these people, I get they have to do some work to be able to get this to you, but most likely, wouldn't it be almost a mass email type situation where they have a lot of requests and they can fulfill them all through one mass email?
That's what I would think. And once you go in and redact something, isn't it redacted? So why do you have to keep charging every person to redact it?
Right.
That I don't think makes sense either. Go in, spend your whatever you say. You got all these hours to redact all this stuff for Brian. Well, go do it. And you know what I mean? And then why does everybody have to? I mean, I get it. It's unfair for the first person to have to pay and nobody else, but there has to be a way to figure that. I don't know. I even said to her when she told me that day, and I said to her, I said, I'm not trying to be mean, but isn't that a little ironic? Your new law came into effect July 1st, just as this happened. And she didn't tell me the first week. It took her a week to tell me right after he pleaded guilty.
Do
And
you think
now,
maybe
yeah,
because you were pushing a little deeper, they just finally said enough is enough, and now you're going to pay?
yep, yep, yep. I do. And then like, come on, they knew he. I don't know. I mean, I guess if it's a new law, they wouldn't have known he was going to plead guilty at the beginning of July. But isn't it just so coincidental that at the same time, you know what I mean, that now they're going to start charging for stuff all of a sudden, everything gets ungagged and lifted and everything else, so now they can make an extreme amount of money because everybody wants all the Brian Koberger stuff.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like I personally, I haven't really requested anything in regards to Moscow, Idaho, or Pullman. I just allow others to do their work. People like yourself, I think you deserve a ton of credit. I know you've worked really hard to get the body cam that you have, and then do the presentation of that. So I've always really enjoyed the fact of just kind of taking a step back and allowing that to transpire rather than me trying to jump into the mix too.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, for those out there, I do want to run. If you have not subscribed, this is Christy Nevada's channel, scrolling on the bottom here. please do so. Head over, give her a thumbs up, give her a like, give her a subscription. Let's help her grow, because this is legitimately, this is the real stuff. If you're tired of seeing manipulated or
Mhm.
changed around, doctored information, come on over to Christy Nevada, because I mean, she just doesn't want to edit it, much less, want to put the time into doing so. So it's real, it's true, and it's out there. What in your mind, Christy, through the work that you've been putting in, that you've wanted to really present and move forward with, that you've been most disappointed you just can't get your hands on so far?
Hmm. Well, probably, I don't know. That's a good question. Now you have me a little stumped now.
I've accomplished the feat of the day.
Yes,
I
you
finally,
did.
I,
Yes.
well, yeah, I tried to do it all morning with my wife and I couldn't accomplish it. So I'm sorry. I had to turn it around on you for a minute.
No, I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with everything. I, they, as of giving me like body cam and that, I can understand why they don't. I mean, as much as I want to get mad and be like, just give me all this body cam and do this and do that. I can also understand why they don't and everything else. So, but hey, I'll get there, and my subscribers are growing, so I'm happy on that.
Well, I mean,
Each day they go up.
you do great work, Christy, and let me tell you, you and I have mingled. I've been intertwined with you in the chats of many communities, many channels. I see Swamp Rose is in the house today. I knew she wouldn't miss it. She's a big fan of yours,
Oh
and I'm
yes,
glad she was able to make it. But many of the people that I see are all engaged with you because you're always in the chat. I mean, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
I don't have many mods on my channel, and Christy Nevada has been the stalwart of my mods outside of Swamp Rose and a few others. So I couldn't be more blessed and happy for that. But
It
you
is
know,
definitely strange being up here and not down there. I always want to type like, "Hey, make sure you hit the like and subscribe and everything else." I'm like, wait a minute, that's what my mods are supposed to be doing. It's
yeah, no,
funny.
I definitely appreciate that. But this is really, I'm just excited to have you here. This show is really to get your thoughts, get your opinions out there so more people could see this. Like I'm just really dedicated today to spend some quality time with you, hear what you have to say. So this is like a blessing for me. This is a lot of fun, and I'm just really excited about it. So
Yes, Stormy, I know you do it for me. I seen her like, hey, I do it. Yes, you do. You always are dropping links and telling everybody to hit the like, just like I do.
and sometimes we got to have those, because I'll tell you what, the negative Nancy's. I got up this morning and I just kind of had to chuckle, because when I get up in the mornings, I think one of the best laughs that I could get is when I get to look into the comment section on my videos and I see the amazing people always saying the greatest of things, and then I get those negative Nancy's right off the bat, and they think that they're actually rattling me or disturbing what my day is going to be like, and I get more of a laugh out of it, and then just kind of move forward with the day. So that's how I spend my first probably 20-30 minutes in the morning, is getting a laugh out of the negative Nancy's.
Yeah, I'm starting to get them. I up until just recent, and I was surprised. I was really surprised because there was a couple body cams that I was a little worried that I was going to get negativity from, and I'm shocked. Just in the last week, I've had like 2 or 3 comments and they weren't even really that mean. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's a good thing. I'm happy,
Right.
but I chuckle because I read your stuff all the time. You're like the first person I look for in the morning when I wake up to see what your live was about and read your comments and that if I miss them. And I do. I see some of them comments too.
Yeah, they could be fun at times, but
Yeah.
we just plug away. And unfortunately, I haven't been as active as I really need to be. And that was a conversation I had with the wife yesterday. Is I just got to get myself a little more dedicated and dust off some of these, I guess, depressive feelings and get back into what we do best. And let's get here and mingle with the crowd, do content, have some fun with this, and
Yeah.
just move forward, and we have some amazing people in the community and in the chat today. It's exciting to see them. Twizzle Sticks here with us, Bianca's here with us. I see that a lot of your mods are here, which is
Hmm.
always awesome. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't
Yes.
know if you want to take a moment and give some shout outs to
Uh,
your people real fast, or
well, I don't know who's mine and who's not on this side like this, but I see Twiz, and I feel like that old what was that name of that movie? Kids show. I think it was like Romper Room or something. And they used to be like, and I see Mary and Jimmy and John. And that's what I just felt like.
what's kind of cool though is I think when we look at the chat and we look at the community, it's really ours.
Yeah.
It should never really be. And I
That's,
probably made a
yeah, that's
mistake
it.
there.
I was gonna say, I think everybody in here, if it's on your side, they're all the same. Cheryl, thank you. Beyonce, Swamp, Twiz, Walt, who else? Stormy. I thank you all for being here, everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely
Oh,
awesome to see you guys. I know Miss Potts is also running live, so it's always
yeah,
amazing when we're able to get some crowd over here as well. We definitely don't want to deter from her, so if you go
yeah,
back and forth, that's okay. Just catch
yep,
me and Christy on the replay, give us some love and
yep.
whatever it might be, but don't
I
tell
love
Miss
Tina.
Potts.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen she was going live. Willie was just live. After I went live, he went live, and I tried to get on, but I just had to, do life things, and
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. It's difficult. I try not to impede other people's lives, but I mean there are so many of us that mingle together that when we do go live, it's hard to not step on each other's toes. So hopefully the community understands we're not doing it intentionally. We definitely support the other creators as well. We just happen to have to pick a time that works best for us. And Chrissy, you and I both were in agreement. We're kind of getting older and we like to go to bed earlier. So
yep, yep. And unfortunately, my body's gotten used to being up at 4:35 in the morning for no apparent reason. And yeah, so that's an early start. So by 9 o'clock, I'm ready to lay down in bed, watch a movie, relax, go to sleep.
yeah, I'm there with you. I'm up bright and early every morning. I do most of my treatments pretty early in the morning. So,
Mhm.
that I just have gotten used to it. I don't need alarm clocks. I don't need a cell phone. I just roll out and I get moving. And if I
Yep.
could utilize that being up and moving around, I should be doing work. I should be on here doing content. I should be working with the community more than I have been. But hopefully I can get myself reinstalled and back and doing that. So, I mean, kind of diving in, obviously, here recently, we've had a lot since the Koberger plea agreement. We've had, the documents dropping not only out of Moscow, but then through the Pullman agencies as well. Have you gone through much of the Pullman documents? I haven't had a chance yet to get into those.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I'm that goofy one that as soon as they pop out, I got to sit there and read them until I'm done reading them all.
Right.
Drives myself nuts. I'm like, stop it, go to bed. You can read it tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, just one more. But yeah, I went through a lot of them. A lot is useless, nothing, but there are some that's really interesting ones too.
Right. What would you what let's start with the Idaho, the Moscow documents that you've obviously intertwined yourself with on your own, but also listed to others. What's your biggest takeaway in regards to those documents that you take away when it comes to the case? Is there anything that really stands out to you in a positive way for Brian, a negative way towards Brian? Kind of what's your feeling on that?
Well, I think that I think there's a lot being hidden. I really do. I mean, you can't. I think I don't. These reports that are coming out, I don't. They don't line up to anything that we were told. They got all these, suspicious people, but you don't see no follow up for it. You don't see, come on, you got an apartment that had a whole bunch of red stuff all over it. Whatever happened? You just decided, nah, okay, that was no report taken. Move on. I I'm very frustrated with the docs, all of them that came out. I definitely do not think that. I don't think they did. I mean, I'm not a police officer, so I shouldn't say I don't think they did their job right, because who am I to say that? But I think that there's a lot of things out there that should have been looked into, and I don't believe that. I mean, I want to. Okay, Brian said he did it. Okay, I get that, but how does a judge look at all these things? And most of us have read them. We see so much stuff in there that questions, how can it even be Brian? Like these cars, the car, circling around the house at 330, 340, 350. I mean, I prove flat out, well, I prove, but the 352 car is not a car. It's an SUV. It's a van, because you got your front door handle and your back door handle are right beside each other. Only a van with a sliding door has that, not a car. I mean, there's just so many things that I think needed to be looked into more, or I don't know. Brian needs to speak up and tell us this stuff, or I don't know. I just have more questions than I did before I read them.
I agree with you. And the crazy thing about me, one thing that I've always been extremely interested in, especially when I was incarcerated, I loved to read people's discoveries. I like to read the documents that were utilized against them, whether they went to trial or took a plea bargain. I was always able to read their discoveries, because typically when you go to the penitentiary, you keep those things. You always have boxes of your paperwork and stuff of that nature. But the probable cause is what really set everything in motion for me when they originally released that probable cause. And the minute I began reading it, I said, we have a problem. We have a problem here, because either A, this probable cause is written by the investigative team that's not the lead investigative team of this actual investigation, or two, this probable cause is trying to avoid the DNA. They're trying to avoid including that DNA in, even though they slip it in a little bit. They tried to avoid that and deny that they were utilizing that to get the warrant, because they knew they could potentially lose it through all the defense's filings going through the process. And I felt like they should have lost that DNA. I don't know how you feel. I think the DNA should have been tossed.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
means the knife sheath, which literally I think we've all learned. I think that it's become quite evident. The knife sheath is the actual evidence of this case. There's nothing else. There's nothing else.
And I don't know if you've seen all of them or not, but it's pretty weird that not one person mentions that sheath until what, 4.5 hours later. Payne then all of a sudden seen it, but all the other ones that were in there before never mentioned it, never brought it up, nothing. And Payne never wrote that report for like, I think it was like 10 days later or something like that. It was a while. It was a while later before he even ever wrote that. That right there is a huge, huge question on that sheath to me, because I want to see the body cam, but I don't because I know what else is in that room at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I don't want that. But I think that they need to prove to us that it was there. We need a picture. We need something because I think that's just a little strange that no other officer mentions that until Payne at 4:30 or 5 or whenever it was he actually showed up to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I do want to let people know one of the reasons why I haven't dove into or broken down photographs when it comes to the
Mhm.
released evidence. I have no interest of looking at that crime scene. I don't have any interest in the blood or the bodies or anything of that nature, other than my only interest is to give it respect for what potentially happened in that home. But I still have questions, and I feel as though the best way that those could have been answered was proper documentation, proper wording in that documentation, explaining. That was a horrible attempt at using a word I probably shouldn't have tried, but explanation of what was actually happening in that home. You could tell the investigators were not on the same page, even though they want to claim that they all sat down together to write these documents and the PCA together was a community document, right? You could tell there was absolutely no community writing of any of this. And it just it fell apart right off the bat for me. And the PCA was just dismal to me, and that started to let me into the front door that we were going to have problems with this, and that's why I think many of us, as you know, I've attacked it, and I have since I was very early as a content creator. I attacked mainstream media as the narrative writers of all of this, and I was pretty pissed off. And in an early stage of my YouTube career, I was pretty upset about the narratives being spilled by mainstream because they were just wrong, and they painted a really negative light that the investigation did not ever paint. So that's where my issues kind of. I mean, where was your first inkling there was a problem that you really started to question not only the documents, but back in the day, the investigative techniques themselves?
I with you with at the beginning once the PCA come out and that I was questioning with that. Um, Hi Nina, hi Tommy, hi James. Um, but I start questioning then, but I always stayed, you know, neutral. I did not pick sides with whether he did or didn't do it. My whole problem had nothing to do with Brian. My problem came down to our rights as a human, as a being, as a U.S. citizen, and his were violated. I'm sorry. But from the very beginning, that made me question some things. But what really made me question was here at the end when they dropped all the files that we were just talking about. And that once they released all that, and I got to see all that, I did like a complete 360 and on all my thoughts. I mean I always questioned that we were being lied to on certain things, but this once these all came out, it just kind of proved it to me.
I just I question the fact, and like I've said many times, I'm not going to get up here and try to say anybody's guilty, not guilty,
Mhm.
based off of things that I know as fact or not fact. I don't know. I don't know facts. I don't know not facts. But what I do know is when I read through potential documents and what has been laid out as an investigative report and stages in this, it doesn't walk a very good road to get me to the end result, to feel comfortable with the end result. And now, what really just blows my mind at the end of the mind is this plea bargain, because
Yeah.
being around the block as many times as I have, and I've stood up and I've told people, I've taken plea bargains. Look, I've cowered out. I didn't take things to trial that I could have potentially took to trial. Most of the time it's because I knew I was guilty. So most times when I see a plea bargain, I feel like the only way someone does that is guilt. Like that's been my thought process through the years because that's just how I always was myself. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this plea bargain and nothing adds up about it because there was literally nothing that would have convicted Brian Koberger heart and soul outside of mainstream media's narrative drive that has painted this negative picture that none of it's been proven whatsoever through actual investigative techniques or investigation.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
I wasn't paying attention there for a minute, but
That's
I
okay. I don't pay attention to me all the time either. Trust me. I go in on a different direction as much as I can.
but now there's a lot of things I do question now, and I didn't. I might not have questioned it before, but I surely question it now.
Well, I mean, a kind of a prime example of why some of us would have such questions. And again, I just want to stop real quick. I see Brian's Ramblings is here. Tommy Jude, it's always great to see you, my friend. I hope you're healthy. Hope you're doing well. And all the others that are popping in that I haven't had the time to properly say hello to. But, at the end of the day, you know, I watched Jules of all trades explaining how she had spoken to somebody in regards to were there actual bodies in these photos, and if so, is it they hadn't been moved? And she was told yes. Yet what we're seeing in the photos, even though they're blurry, even things that are blurred out, don't add up to what's written in the reports, and I have a problem with that because you shouldn't write a report that's not based off of exactly what you're seeing right there at that moment. And this gives me the idea, Christy, that they could have potentially waited a time frame before they wrote these reports, which is just not the truth because you're going to forget things, you're going to
Mhm.
misrepresent things, you're going to misstate things. And I think Jules' work of making the phone calls and
Mhm.
getting someone to admit that, yes, the bodies are in these pictures showcases those pictures compared to the actual report is wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, both you see two bed pictures, both that are on them beds that we were told are not where we were told they were. If
No,
you,
and I hate going down this road, but
yeah, me
I
too.
am gonna go down this road. I'm gonna go here. From what was described as one of the bloodiest scenes that could potentially be, to where even the officers that worked the crime scenes needed therapy and needed counseling and all of this stuff. Man, I've been in crime scenes of my own that were bloodier than that, and there weren't four victims, and there wasn't that much violence involved. So even looking at these, and I try to really avoid it, and I don't want to discuss it, but the blood does not add up to what they're stating legitimately happened in that house.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
agree. I agree on that. I mean, I think we all expected a whole lot more, but I do know that if this was done underneath a blanket, if they were in bed and they were covered up and there was a blanket over them, that is going to stop a lot of splatter. And most people don't realize that. You because if you're going through the blanket and in and out and in and out, yeah, what's on that item is going to go places, but the person themselves, that blanket will hide a lot of it and keep it underneath, on them, around them. And that's how I understood it being said, was it was a mess, but it was, contained to around them. and that would explain a good portion of it, but I still think there should have been a lot more than what we've seen. But I do know that a blanket will hold in a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you, but I'll also disagree in the sense I can pretty much tell you without question that Kaylee Gonzalez was not under a blanket,
Uh-uh.
and neither was Xana. And I'm not even talking about splatter evidence. They bled out
Yeah.
to the point they were there, we know, for more than 8 hours because it took that long just to call 911. But they were still there when the later investigation came in,
Yeah.
and that's the entirety of your body's blood has
Yeah.
come out of you. And looking at Maddie's bed, like,
I,
God,
I
this is
know.
like the worst conversation to have. This is
I
not
know.
why I got into true crime. This isn't why I'm in true crime. But you
Uh-uh.
have to talk about the reality. You have to talk about realness. That's not enough blood on that bed in that corner where Kaylee was supposedly boxed in up against the wall, like
Yep.
was claimed by the victim's own family, saying she fought and she was boxed against the wall. There wasn't enough blood there.
No, I agree with you on that. And like I said, Xana, I agree 100% on them ones too. I was expecting way more there.
And if people want to come at me, because this is what happens when you're a creator, they come at you
Hmm.
to do their very best to disprove what you're saying. If the blood flowed downwards from Kaylee between the bed, the wall to the floor, no, we wouldn't see it from that view of the bed. No, we wouldn't. But I'll tell you what, they better have taken pictures by moving that bed to get that blood flow, to get the proper full spectrum of what happened in that room. And I'm not sure. Look, I've never seen a bedroom smaller than that bedroom.
Yeah,
Like, oh my
I
God.
know. I know. When I looked at it, like, I mean, I was shocked with how little that is.
Look, I've
But
been in some tiny places. I've lived in some studios. I've even lived in some hotels. People remember when I first
yeah.
started YouTube, I was doing the casino bounce around hotel rooms and I got tore up for that. But look, I've been in some small places, but I've never been in, like, what do you do in that bedroom?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to try to get into some sort of altercation with somebody in that bedroom. Let me tell you,
Mm-mm.
it wouldn't have worked for me. I would have got myself. Like I would have
Yeah.
cut myself up.
Me too. That's how I am. That's exactly what I thought too. I'm like, oh, I would have hurt myself in there. I mean, it's just, I
Well, I
mean,
would even have. I would never have been able to sleep in that room. I would have been
uh-uh.
claustrophobic.
Yep.
I think my prison cell was bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like I really
Yeah.
do. And I had my bathroom in my cell, so you can only imagine. I had more moving around room in there than what she had in that bedroom, which is kind of a sad thought. I had more luxury in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, when I seen that bottom of Maddie's bed and you could see her boots and everything sitting there and the whole bed, you don't see anything at all in that picture. Red stuff at all. And that's the end of her bed. Like if there was this big struggle that occurred in this fight and I don't understand it. It
Yeah,
just
and that I do agree with Melissa when she says, "Hey, these two young ladies being in that small of a room." You're
mhm,
absolutely right. They were trapped.
yep,
There's no doubt in my mind. The
yep,
attack that happened in Maddie's room, you could not get away from. There's no chance of getting out of there with an
mm-mm,
attacker on top of you. I don't care who you are. I wouldn't have been able to do it, and I'm pretty frisky, and I can maneuver pretty well in a fight. But there is no way that I
mm-mm.
could jump out of that. So I mean, it's like I get it. Trapped is one thing, and I think the surprise factor. I do believe Xana came up the stairs. I think
I
she
did
did
too.
walk on it.
Yep.
Um,
Have a good
but
day, Tommy. Thank you for stopping.
yeah, Tommy, it was great seeing you, bud. I'll stop by over at your channel and say hello as well. Um, I'm still baffled though because if that is the case, that Xana came up, which I truly believe she did, I don't see the half drank drink on the stairs still being standing.
Mm-mm.
Man, I don't care where
The
that
whole
beer bottle
table.
table.
I was
Huh?
gonna say the whole table, all them cups. Like,
I,
come on, none of them. You, especially where they showed it at, you would have been right in the pathway,
right.
even
Xana
running
would have
past
took
it.
that. My thought process comes to Xana's want to get away, the desperation to get away. If she did legitimately come upstairs, it wouldn't have taken her but 2 seconds to figure out the devastation that was happening. She didn't even have to see the full out everything. She would have heard it, she would have sensed it, she would have known it.
Yeah.
That means she's turning around, and at that point you're running for your life. You are
Hmm.
running for your life. This is no longer who's in my house. This is, oh shit, I gotta go. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta get out of this mess. I don't know why she didn't make a left, go out the back door. She might have felt like there was nowhere to go. Even if you go that way, he's coming. So maybe she did feel like Ethan was gonna really, really be able to help her, and or maybe she was trying to protect him. Who knows? I
Yeah.
don't know. But her blazing down those stairs on her own, anything and everything in her path is coming down,
Yep.
including that glass table that's up against the wall.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even have been standing because there's no way she made it all the way to her bedroom before the fight ensued. There's no way.
No. No. And if you remember back in the beginning, there's that picture of them standing in the living room. The agents in all white taking pictures right there where that table is.
Right.
So I just wonder if it got moved, like something had happened, and maybe going back out the door, they pushed it. I don't know. Something happened right there for them to focus so much time in that area, and by what we see, it looks clean. There's a beer pong table, and the cups are still setting up. The glass thing's all nice with its little wine glasses on them, and the lights are strung around it, and that ain't no heck of a fight that occurred on the second floor if all of that's still setting up.
Well, what's crazy is I look at even more of the pictures after the fact, and it's no longer an actual fight scene. It's a party scene. I mean, I
Yeah.
see the remnants of, and look, I'm not even, I don't care if it's a party house or not. To be honest with
Nope.
you, I know many of people that've been to college that lived in party houses, and they turned out to be extremely uh, successful individuals in life. And I have nothing against, my brother, who, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have a very good relationship anymore in life, but he was a partier. He
Mhm.
drank to the point my parents had to rush him to the hospital numerous times. He used narcotics. He did things, and now he is a lead prosecutor for the feds and doing just fine in life. I mean, he's older now, but
Yeah.
I don't care about the party atmosphere. That's all good. And if I was surprised how dirty the house was from the party, like, does nobody pick up their shit? Um, I'm a little more picky than that, I guess. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you had a party the night before. I can understand the remnants, but I don't understand the perfectly set up
Mhm.
tables. I don't understand that glass table not being knocked over, things knocked off the walls, holes in the walls. Like, if a fight ensued,
Yeah.
punches are thrown, things are happening, there's holes in walls.
Hmm.
That's drywall. I mean, you put holes in the walls. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of confused. I'm confused by it. And
Well, I mean, if there was more than one person in that house, then maybe not doing the crime. Maybe one went upstairs and one went to the second floor, and it really did just keep them in their rooms. And maybe Xana didn't go up. Yeah, I don't know. I just try to think of different ways too, because I'm like you. You got a cup setting up on the steps, which Dylan said Kaylee ran up and down numerous times with Murphy. How did Murphy not knock that cup over? You know
right,
what I mean? And if you're running for your life, you're definitely probably going to knock it over, I would think. And then you got the beer pong that's still set up. You got the glass table that's set. Like, it just, it looks like a cleanup. I will, I just say it. It does. It looks like exactly what we have thought. It looks like something was cleaned up.
Yeah, one thing I'm never going to go back on, Christy, is the fact since the very beginning, not knowing who committed this crime, and of course, I came out pretty strong with my opinions that this was not one person
Hmm.
that committed this crime, and I'm never going to let that go. I'm
Uh-huh.
never going to back away from that. I don't care that Brian Koberger pled guilty. I have some. If let's say Brian Koberger did plead guilty because he was guilty of this crime. That means he was a part of the crime. And
Yeah.
he was going to, at that point, in my opinion, for someone to take a plea bargain like that means he knows at some point he's going to be connected to the crime in some way, which still gets you a hefty sentence, no matter whether you're the actual, stabber or not the stabber. You still get convicted of the crimes. And maybe he just decided, okay, you got me. I'm a part of this, and I don't know what part of that he is, but
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
it does take some extreme, excuse the language when I say this, some extreme cojones, some balls to not snitch on somebody. And if Brian Koberger does know of the others that are involved in this, which in my opinion, if he's involved, and I believe there's multi-perps, he would know the others. Uh,
Hmm.
Man, it sure takes a lot to not say something. And
Yeah.
typically in plea bargains, if you do say something, they take far more off the table than just the death penalty. Like they start dropping charges. If he's an accessory or a part of the crime, he could have come all the way down to second degree, or he could have got, potential of parole, like 25 to life with the potential of parole if you give us info that leads us to another perp.
Hmm.
And that didn't happen. And I'm still looking. Look, I hate to throw names out there, but I'm looking at
Yeah. Yeah.
Showalter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at Showalter, and I'm shaking my head. It's like, dude, you had just as much evidence. It seems like it's your apartment than anybody else in this case. And miraculously, you got lucky that it got cleaned up, misinvestigated, and potentially lost. But what's your connection to this? Who do you know? And who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. I always thought it if it was Brian and he is who did this. I'm thinking like you. There is somebody else. I do not think this was a one person crime either. And I've tried to weigh it out that okay, if it was Brian and he did have part in this because he did plead guilty, like all this thing. I hate bringing it up, but I really do wonder if the person is not on this earth no more, and is it worth even bringing them up? Would
Right.
that would that make a difference? Because he's going to take all the charges if that other person isn't here no more.
Yeah,
So
I,
I've,
I
I've
and
wondered. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're referring to, and in most cases, I would be in absolute agreement with you. But I would think, in my opinion, that the
Mhm.
defense team would go on full attack mode, which maybe they potentially tried to do, and we just don't know. Of pinning the entire thing on that individual, saying there's no possible way our client. But look,
Yeah.
the thing that really gets to me is the defense team themselves said there was potential cleanup in this, and
Yeah.
Brian Koberger would have the knowledge of cleanup. So if Brian Koberger, and the words that still get me is "I'm here to help you," I don't think that was said to a victim. I think that was said to a person involved. Like,
Yes.
dude, I'm here to help you. Like, get out of my way. I'm here to help you, or you got to
Mm.
get out of here. I'm here to help you. Something. I don't think it's. I don't think it was to a victim. I don't see any point of saying it to a victim. I'm here
I
to
don't
help
either.
you.
Yeah. And that's what makes me think the car circling is somebody got dropped off, the other person circling, coming around, waiting, maybe dropped off a few people, drive around, wait, nobody come out. Okay, let me park, go in and see what's going on. And it's like, dude, I'm here to help you. What's going on? and then sees all that and then takes off. Like, yeah, I've had multiple theories in my head, and it's just a theory. It's just a thought. There's nothing about it.
Well, and
But
that's something I definitely want to tell people as content creators. We have theories, we have thoughts, and that's what they
mhm,
are. That's why my channel has the word thoughts directly in it. I'm not here accusing anybody because I was
yeah,
not a part of the investigation. I myself was not at the crime scene. I didn't get to shake hands with people in and around the crime scene. I didn't get to do the interrogations or the interviews. I can't sum up 90% of this, but I can tell you what, coming from my background, something along the way should actually make sense. And when he pled guilty, I said, okay, well, I'm good. I'm done. I've got the answer that I needed. He said he was guilty, but you know what? Through each day moving forward from that, thinking that I could move on and just be done, I start scratching my head going, yeah, but you can't because none of this is right. Like
yeah.
none of it. And
Hey, Krista, thank you for stopping. It's nice, real tea with Krista. I love her. She's so sweet. But yeah, I've done that too. I kept saying, I was like you. I'm like, yep, he did it. He admitted to it. I'm just done. I'm not going to sit here and keep going through this. Obviously, he did it. But then all them 314 things got dropped and completely changed everything for me because after my already questioning what I was, already questioning all this time, and I was trying not to, and then once reading that, it's just I can't let it go.
well, and the worst thing for me to grasp, and there's Kathy's Indie Zone. It's great to see you, Kathy. Always a pleasure to have you stop
Oh
by.
yes, she was in
The,
my chat earlier too. She was
yeah,
excited to be here.
she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. Absolutely love her work. But at the end of the day, it's like, I guess because I've had to be one that had to pick up that pen and make the decision to take a plea bargain. So I've had to weigh it out. Like, is this going to be the right move? Is this the wrong move? And for this plea bargain, with all the work that went into what I call a reasonable doubt defense. It's a reasonable doubt defense from start to finish. Brian Koberger's defense was a reasonable doubt defense.
Yeah.
It was working, even though
Hmm.
everybody says it wasn't working. And there were times, Chrissy, I said, "God, nothing's going right. Oh man, they haven't won a motion. This is horrible." Yeah, but they should have taken it to trial because you just got life without the possibility of parole times 4 with a 10-year additional. You're going to be in segregation for a very long period of time. You're never going to have an easy day in the penitentiary. There's not easy days in the penitentiary ever. And you could have got the same thing by taking it to trial. The
Yeah.
same thing.
Yep.
And
Yep.
people want to say, well, he would have got the death penalty. He would have got the death penalty. He would.
In
Okay.
20, 30 years from now,
That's what I'm saying. So
maybe.
he would have been sitting there for 35, 40 years. And most likely by the time his time for death penalty would have came up, Idaho probably would have gotten rid of the death penalty.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. I'm
So
like you. I just don't think this plea, there's something, why did it come out of nowhere? And why? Just why? And the judge, I I mean, how did he not see what we see? How could he let a guy take a plea, seeing in Thompson standing up saying we have nothing that puts Mr. Koberger in that house? I just don't know why the judge didn't say, okay, well then, Mr. Thompson, I think you need to be showing me some more stuff before we can go along with this. But I mean, I'm not a judge. I don't know the rules. I don't know all that. But I just feel like he should have, of anybody, he should have questioned it.
yeah, he was set in his way. He was
Hmm.
100% set in his way. And At the end of the day, I think the biggest mistake when it comes to this plea agreement, and look, the biggest conversation since this plea agreement has been appeals. It's all been Brian Koberger waived his right to appeal. No, he still has appeals. No, he waived. Look, at the end of the day, the most important thing to me, because I've had this situation arise when I signed the pleas. Do you still have options for appeals? Yes, you do, but they're limited. Your limitation of what you're able to do appeal wise when you take a plea bargain compared to going to trial and losing is an extreme difference. You can't go after the judge's rulings, where if you lose a trial, now you can attack that you feel as though your judge made improper rulings in so many different areas, and you can get those heard. And that could be an appeal that would be heard and overturned the sentencing or even the verdict. You can attack the prosecution. Like, if you're going to claim prosecutorial misconduct, why take a plea bargain that takes away your right to attack prosecutorial misconduct? So, yes, he has options, but they're limited and they're in a very short time frame where taking this to trial and losing, you've got all of your appeals still left to be had. You got a
Mhm.
much wider spectrum of appeals, and then you also bring in other entities that could fight on your behalf that he's now actually ruled out through this plea bargain. And people will begin to learn what I mean by that as things start to come out. Like, Innocence Project cannot touch his case. They can't do it. He pled guilty. He said he did it. He didn't take an Alford plea.
Yeah.
He
I
didn't
didn't know
stay
that.
mute. He said he did it. So now I don't know if you remember. I've been in contact with the Innocence Project for a very long time. I actually have a lot of videos behind the scenes on other cases that the Innocence Project has worked on and overcome the very devastating, verdicts and different things. So I've gotten to know some very cool people within that organization. I've gotten to know some of their financial backers and people like that in discussions, and it's just amazing the work that they do. And now, maybe there's potential at some point, but from what they're letting me know, he said he was guilty. He said he did it. It's out of their hands. They can't do anything. They
Well,
can't do it.
I mean that makes sense, but yeah, I was wondering if they could pick it up or not, but I guess that does make sense.
Well, he
Oh,
did not take a plea agreement to where he did not say guilty. Like, he said yes to guilty. He could have done an Alford plea. Maybe that wasn't available to him. If those things are not available to you, Christy, you don't sign the plea bargain.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you have to fight for yourself in a plea bargain
Mm-hmm.
too. People need to realize the plea bargain's not one-sided. It's not just what the prosecutor is willing to give you. You could say no, and you could bargain, even if you are the one. Let's say Brian Kober did approach the prosecution and say, "Hey, I want a plea bargain. I just want to plead guilty. I want this to be done and over with." And they say, "Okay, well, here's our terms." Brian Kober would say, "Look, I'm willing to give you the majority of your terms. Like, I'll give you the fact that I'll plead guilty to all the charges, maximum sentences. I'll give you that. Okay. But I'm not going to do it by saying, yes, that I'm guilty and I committed the crime. I'm
Yeah.
going to leave that option available to myself. I'll leave you your options and I'm going to leave me mine." And at that point, it throws it back in the hands of Bill Thompson. And I think where I'm most upset, and Taylor should have damn well known, Bill Thompson doesn't take cases to trial.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Yeah.
sure doesn't take capital cases to trial. And the one that he did got overturned.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, why did you just give them everything and I get it. People are saying, well, they've got a back door. They've got, they're playing chess. They're doing, but why? Why even attempt to do that?
Yeah,
come out.
that's what I didn't get is why was there no bargaining at all with this plea? Like it just take off the death penalty and we're fine. Like I mean Thompson could have asked for things too. Brian could have asked for things to be different. Like it wasn't. It was just plain Jane, yep, take this off, we're done, over, done. I mean, is it possible, AR? Did he do this to get new counsel?
He
I
can't.
mean,
He
he
can't.
can't. Okay.
The state will no longer provide counsel for you because you unless he fundraises enough
Yeah.
money to defend himself first in the appellate court to get even an appeal heard, which is extreme amounts of money. That's far more, that's so much. And then you got to go get criminal attorneys to defend you. He's no longer eligible for any type of funding through the state. He's a convicted felon. The state
Yeah.
doesn't have to pay for him anymore. So, and to kind of answer this question in a manner, we do have James Moan. He's talking about the time of the evidence with evidence. Look, in my opinion, they didn't find evidence other than that sheath, and then they started constructing stuff and put it together. At the end of the day, I want to say there's a possibility that evidence could come forward at some point in time that could exonerate Brian. I just don't know where it's going to come from because they never found evidence in the first place.
True.
So, Christy, at that point, wouldn't it be better to say I should have taken it to trial with the reasonable doubt effect that you had no evidence to begin with, compared
Yeah.
to I hope down in the future I can find evidence that proves I didn't do this?
Yeah. 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 Exactly. I
Right.
agree with you on that. Yeah.
I just, and I always kind of have to revert back to the fact that I've sat one in that jail cell. I've taken plea bargains. Then I've went and I've sat in DOC, and then I've fought through the appeal process from DOC. I've won the rights to new trials. I've lost the rights to new trials. So I've been kind of through that mixture of really the roller coaster that this has become. Now, do I know every twist and turn? No, I don't know. Maybe there is some back there with Brian Koberger. I have a lot of people hating on me saying that Brian Koberger already has a new attorney, which I hope if he does, that's an appellate attorney that's federally based that can go up and above the state level and fight the appeal process from much higher on different grounds that are a federal ground. Because I'm just sad to say right now, I just got this gut feeling that Brian Koberger's making himself a little bit comfortable there on J Block in the Idaho maximum security. I think that he's out at rec when he gets the opportunity to go to rec. He's probably waiting on his visitations to be approved, his phone calls to be approved with his family, and he's trying to get himself kind of situated in the new surroundings that he's at. I mean, I don't, from everything that I know, Christy, from everybody that I know behind the scenes, from every conversation I've had, it doesn't seem like there's any movement towards an appeal or lawyers. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah. I
doesn't
didn't
mean that
know.
I know.
I didn't know if he could or like. I mean, maybe there is some big name lawyer out there that's willing to take his case for nothing. Me. I don't know, but I I'm like, yeah, I just don't understand why he did this, why he even took this without trying to negotiate something other than just death penalty or take it to trial. Like I said, I would have rather went to trial. I mean, you're hearing Bill Thompson say, I have nothing that puts you at the scene. And if he's such a, smart criminal out there, he should know they have nothing on him. So why wouldn't you go to trial?
Well, and what do you have to lose?
Yeah,
You got to lose.
exactly. You got
Um,
nothing.
and I think the best way I could sum that out when I throw out there, Christy, like, and I want people to legitimately stop for a minute and think about it. Taking this to trial What did you have to lose? And people will always come back with, well, the death penalty.
Mm.
Yeah, but you've got every opportunity to overcome the death penalty still at your disposal, but you also had the chance to beat the case.
Yes. Yes.
Now, no matter what you do, it's an unreal battle. No matter what you do, it's an unreal battle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would have taken it to court, to trial. And that's what also in the back of my mind, I wonder, did Ann Taylor legitimately sit down with Brian Kohberger and just look him in the eyes and say, look, man, we've tried everything. We have gone everything from standing silent, fighting the grand jury, prosecutorial misconduct, a Franks hearing, planted evidence, alternative perps. We've gone down every avenue, Brian, even the mental health. We've done everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now we either got to save your life and work out in a plea agreement, and you're not going to like the end result of the terms, or I don't know where to go from here. Like, I can't win at trial. That's the only thing I can think of is Ann Taylor told him she could not win at trial. Like, I have no shot.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
that point, I think that she should have instructed him before signing that plea. And I don't know if it's against policy or code or licensing agreements for lawyers. She should have told him either fire me
Yeah.
or you need to file right now for improper, lawyer or whatever it's called. I can't think of it. It's off the top of my head that, I can't get it to come clean out of that. But, the biggest one that he could fight, which would be his lawyers didn't do their job.
Mm-hmm.
So I have issues with that as a lawyer. One, if that was my attorney, I would have shut her down on the fact you're not willing to go to trial with this. Like, why? We've made
Yeah.
every argument so far. We might as well go to trial now. I'm the one that's got to go sit my butt in a prison cell on a yard for the rest of my life if I take this plea bargain, and most likely I'm going to be targeted. So I think I'll go to trial. I think I'll give myself a
Mm-hmm.
shot here.
Yep. I mean, everything the lady tried, Hitler just kept shutting her down and shutting her down, and I get, that would be frustrating in that, but I shut me down all you want. I still would have went to trial and took the chance, but I don't know. I don't know what changed it. Something. Was it Molly coming out, the DoorDash driver? I mean, what was it that made something happen to me? I feel like something occurred that made him hurry up and do this, because this came out of nowhere and it happened fast. And my understanding was that I thought it was Brian that asked for this, that
It
went
was
to,
it was
okay.
Brian. Yeah.
Okay. So why? Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. And Kathy, she's making just excellent points.
Yes, I keep reading hers too.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing points. There are so many amazing points and
Mhm.
thoughts within the community. I mean, it's hard for me to keep up with all of them. I have no vision in one eye, but I'm doing the best I can. I want people to understand. I am reading your comments, and we do want to interact with you. And I agree, Kathy. How does Ann Taylor defiantly stand up in the court directly to a judge saying, my client is innocent, like innocent, and accusing directly to pretty much everything in the investigation being mishandled, misdone, lies, cheating, scandalous. And then all of a sudden she's like, well, I think we'll just bow out and take a plea bargain to all max charges and we'll just be done with this. That
I was reading James's comment. He says, "Can't be Molly. She can't find her ass with both hands in the door."
Well, and that's one thing too. I thought about that, Chris. It was like, it's funny how literally right before this plea agreement is when that body cam
Hmm.
footage got dropped.
Yeah.
But it had already been out for, well, no, the car one had been out. Like we're
Well,
skipping
no,
forward.
Axon had it out for almost a year before Translucent seen it and did her little part of it, and that's when I dropped it. I think they
Right.
said it was June 26th was the first time that they really knew about that. They never knew she said that in that, I don't think.
Okay. So, well, I mean that. I'm
That was
sorry. Looking at that, like if that's going to be your key witness testifying against me at trial, let's go to trial.
right, right.
Like, I'm sorry. Let's stack up the witnesses here for a minute, Christy. We got Dylan Mortensen, the eyebrow girl with eyebrows all over her walls, known to be highly intoxicated, and just let's just face it, every single time she did an interview, it was something different.
Yep.
I don't think she's creditable, even though Judge Hibbler thought she was. Me, myself, I've taken that. Like, okay, I want her to be a witness at trial. Cool, let's take it. We'll demolish her on the stand.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bethany didn't want anything to do with being a witness. So
Mm-mm.
now you're telling me your next option of a witness is a DoorDash driver that we've all seen with our own eyes on body cam. I want her as a witness against me. I'm telling you right now, I want her at my trial. The next time, if I ever get in trouble, let's make sure we got a person like that as a witness against me. I'm taking it to trial. Like whether I was caught red handed or not, if that's your witness, we're going to
Bring
trial.
it on. Yep,
We're going. Like,
exactly.
I just want to watch the show. Go and put her in that, in that testimony box. I'll sit in the defendant's chair and I'll eat my popcorn and clap at every word she says. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I when it comes to witnesses in this, there's nothing that I've seen so far that brings fear to me, including the very law enforcement and the investigators trying to explain themselves on the investigation that they conducted because they were all bumping heads and sticking heads up each other's hind ends because they didn't know what they were doing either.
Yeah.
I would have loved them to be on the stand. Let's
Yep.
get them up there.
Yep. And that's what it makes no sense to me for Brian to be as smart as he is. And he's definitely not a dumb guy to make it as far as he did in college and everything else. So obviously he knows his stuff. How how could he not sit there and see what we're seeing and question what we're like? They have nothing on you. And they tell you they have nothing on you. So I would like you. I'm glad to have Molly as my witness. Come on, come on. Let me have Molly that, and then let me have the board girl that drank for 24 hours prior to and hasn't slept and don't recall what she's seen or who she heard and then you got the other one that hid in the basement and didn't hear nothing and now won't return at all to the state. What did they have besides touch DNA that was not even to be used in this case? IgG was not to be used in this case. So what did they have? And why would you go plead? I don't know.
Well, I mean, on top of that, you got to think about, do you really feel in your mind and in your heart, Christy, that the prosecution's expert witnesses, let's even just use an example of the car. Do you think that was going to win over a jury?
No. Nope. I didn't see anything they had that was going to win over a jury.
I haven't seen anything yet. Now, look, I haven't seen cast reports. I haven't seen what was in his phone. I'm not sure if we ever will. I mean,
Yeah.
look, there sounds to be if the um, sexually in nature type stuff is on his phone. Obviously, I'm not a supporter of that type of stuff, and I would have some hesitancy and some issues with that. But none of that's been proven. We've seen none of it, and that's why you have to take this to trial. You have to get them willing to spell that out on through their experts. But the number one thing that throws the loop in that is when Bill Thompson's willing to stand up in open court and say, there's nothing about this that was sexual. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that takes everything that you just claimed was in his phone off the table. None of that matters anymore because it wouldn't apply. None of it would apply. But now I do see so many people trying to tie, the Mad Greek is involved in this. He ordered 2 pizzas.
Mad Greek come out and said they don't have anything that shows him there. I still have the screenshot of their post saying that to their knowledge, he was never in there.
Well, I can guarantee this. This is one thing I do know. If there was a connection of Mad Greek with Brian Coberter and potentially Xana and Maddie working there, they would have been on the testifying witness list.
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing.
And they said they found not one thing that ever connected them. And that would include Mad Greek too, because that would be a connection. So you can't, it can't be.
Right. I do want to make sure that I give just a quick tidbit of information I do have. And I know a lot of people, I've had people literally reach out to me saying, Brian Coberter's not even in the penitentiary. He's somewhere else. Guys, I know people in the Idaho Max yard where he's housed at. He's there. He's housed there. I know what wing he's on. People keep saying J Block, he's hanging out with Chad Daybell. No, they're on different sides of the building. They're separated by a guard monitoring system and slider doors. They're not in the same row. So don't think that they're going to yard together playing pat butts. That's not happening. But for people that thinking that he's not on J Block and not in the penitentiary, he is there, and he's working his way on the yard. I mean, he's doing his thing. So
yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we're all just conspiracy theorists, and he did this, and we're just all crazy.
Well, in this case, no matter which way you look at this case, and Christy, I truly believe this within me. It doesn't matter whether you believe that Brian Coberter's innocent or guilty. If you come out and speak as if you know either way and how it is, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yes, I agree.
Because it doesn't add up either way you look at it. It doesn't add up that he's completely innocent. There's a lot of things that you can look at that say, well, none of this makes him guilty. That's for sure. So he's got to be innocent. But on the other side of that, too, there's things that you can look at and say, well, that's potentially, if that lined up with this, it's potential. But that's the thing. Innocent until proven guilty across the board can't be disputed, because that's our rights as people. As citizens of the United States, we live by innocent until proven guilty. And in my book, look, I get it. Brian Coberter pled guilty, and I came out right out the bat, and I was pissed, and I acted pissed. I spoke pissed, and I jumped on that thing saying, well, the hell with it. He's guilty. Fry him. Send him off on his way. Let him do his time in the penitentiary. But then I had to revert back, and I had to open my mind and say, man, I've been through the system. I've been to courts. It is innocent until proven guilty. That's our rights. That's what you deserve.
Yes.
That's what you pay taxes for. That's what you go to work for. That's why you raise your kids the right way. We all deserve that right. And Brian Coberter did not get that right. He just did not get it. And I don't care which side of the coin you're on. You can flip that and say he's guilty as hell. Okay, prove it. You can't.
No.
And I can't prove he's innocent either. So
no, exactly. We can't. I mean, it just comes down to something's not right, whether he did or didn't do it. It's not really even about that. Like you said, it's about the process that was done that got him to life in prison, 4 consecutive lives in prison over. I want to see what I want to see it. I want to see the proof of it. I'm sorry, but I don't care if it was him, if it was my neighbor down the street. It doesn't matter to me who it is. It's just the fact that it's our rights, to have things to that Bill Thompson and them, their job was to prove it. Brian did not have to sit up there and prove anything. Brian didn't have to sit up there and show anything. But the defense or the prosecution did. They were to sit there and show us and prove to us 100% that defendant did this crime. And they didn't do it.
I
So,
almost feel, I know this sounds stupid, I almost feel like Brian Coburn could have sat mute in the defendant's chair and his defense team rested after the prosecution presented their case, and they just rested and they had potential to beat the case.
yes.
And I don't say that about many. Like, I don't believe that. I think you always need to put on a defense. But I'm not sure that the prosecution could have got up there with their mixtures of experts and told the same story all in sequence to make it even sound like they were telling the same story.
Right. Right. I mean, I love how they say we can put him there 20 sometimes, but then turn around and say, well, we can't put him at the house though. Well, then you got nothing.
I'll tell you this right now. So I live in Vegas, which is a much bigger city than Moscow and Pullman put together. I could be placed probably near 100,000 people's houses, 10-mile radius away from me on far more than 20 occasions via my cell phone pings, whether I be at the park walking my dogs or whatever I'm doing. So if something happened in that neighborhood, are you going to say because I was in that neighborhood 20 times in a 3-month period, I committed the crime?
Yes.
Because exactly. I'm around people's houses all the time. I'm around people's houses every day and constantly the same people's houses. So,
and then the best, and what I liked too was everybody saying, but it was in the middle of the night. Walmart's open 24 hours.
Dude, I'm out more at night than I am during the day. It's 115 degrees out here. You think I go out during the day? Yeah. Get out.
Right. But, so right there just says, I don't know.
You know what I would have said if I was Brian Coburn, and this is going to come across maybe a little bit dirty for some people. I would have said, first I'm going to research, where's the closest strip club to this neighborhood? And I would have said, okay, so you got me 23 times in the neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning. What time do strip clubs close? Yep. I just happened to be there. Didn't you guys realize on my phone I'm kind of into women, so I just happened to be at the strip club. Yeah. Socially awkward at the strip club. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Prove that I wasn't, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And real quick, Christy, I do want to, again, I want to reiterate for those that most of you have been here, but Christy Nevada has been a great guest tonight. This live is for Christy. This is benefiting her. She's working very hard behind the scenes, and she's really been battling YouTube when it comes to being monetized on her channel. And for those of you that are willing to support her in a financial way, which is not always expected, but it's very much appreciated, the things that she's doing to get these body cams, they do cost money. So everything from the lives that I do with Miss Christy Nevada, I am giving her the profits from these lives. That's super chats. That's anything revenue-wise that we earn. So if you can also venture over to her channel, give her a big thumbs up, give her a like, give her a subscription, give her some love, and give her that support that she deserves, because she supports all of us as creators and as a community, guys. So please do that for her. I would truly appreciate it myself. So
And I would greatly appreciate it too. Like AR said, I've been battling with YouTube, so
I'm surprised they haven't stripped me of even my rights to be on YouTube yet. I'm sure, at some point that might come, but who knows? But I do
don't
know she
say.
has. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, don't say that too loud.
Well, I think many out there know my wife already lost the Pennies Go Stripping
Yeah.
channel due to. I tried. This is how stupid it was. So I tried to start a sports channel during the NBA playoffs to where I was doing sports discussions because I'm a big sports fan. And I was playing some of the games, radio games, and I was doing like a little mini broadcast. I did about 4 games, and all of a sudden, I got a email in the middle of the night saying they took down my channel for spamming and fraudulent whatever. So I guess people were flagging my channel, which is crazy. I only had like 400 subscribers. It was
Uh,
hilarious. Little EB channel. So I didn't really even think two things about it. I was like, you know what? Oh well, who cares? But
mhm.
then they threatened they were going to take down my main channel, this channel. And I said, all right, well, now I've got a problem. And
Yeah.
within hours, Jen's channel was down, and they said it was because of my channel, because she was connected to my channel. They took her down. And there was no way we couldn't win the battle. We couldn't get it back. So it's like, are you serious? Whatever,
Yeah.
But so she's doing her thing on other platforms and whatever. I mean, if YouTube came in and closed in on me, so be it. So be it. So it does look like we have a $50 super chat for you there, Miss Christie. Deborah. I can't say the name very well. I don't know
Yeah.
if you can see that.
Kiefer.
So
Kiefer. Deborah Kiefer. Thank you very,
a
very,
super
very
sticker.
much.
So definitely appreciate that. And just so that everybody knows, Christy and I, we talk a lot behind the scenes. So she's always going to have every heads up, every documentation of what's being donated. And then as these get paid out, she will definitely get that paid to her. So I'm definitely excited to do that for you. Looks
Thank
like we got another one.
Yes. Richard, thank
So
you.
we've got the Richard. I hope you're doing well, my friend. And for some reason, I can't get that other one to come down.
Yeah. Where have you been, though, Richard? I seen you there for a while, and then it seemed like I haven't seen you around for a few months. I was glad to see you back again.
Yeah, it's always good to see him. And
Yes. Hi, Angel D. Nothing half I always say nothing half ass. Ass. It's just it's what it's supposed to say. Who else is in here?
so we
Oh
got
well,
Cheryl Burkese. She donated another $10, and I'm very appreciative. Let me tell you, Christy, Cheryl and I are extremely close. She's
I love
my
Cheryl.
Canadian heartbeat is what I call her, and we have some great conversations, some very, very meaningful ones, and I know she's just amazing. So I'm glad that she also adores you.
Oh, I love her. It doesn't matter where we're at. If I see a comment from her on somebody else's post, I always say hey, and she'll do the same. No matter if I'm posting on yours or whoever I'm posting at, she sees my comment. She always hits me on it. So I love her. Thank you
She's
all.
absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you, one of our connections came very early in my YouTube career. I had seen her in other chats and other places, and her and I always exchanged pleasantries. And then I just saw her get mistreated so badly by another content creator. I just had to reach out to her. I'm like, look, I adore you, and you're always going to be a part of whatever I do. So you got to come on over here instead. We've been attached ever since, and I just absolutely adore her. So
I do too.
Robert with True Crime Unleashed, he went ahead and made a $2 super chat as well, saying great show. We definitely appreciate that, Robert,
Yes.
and
Yes.
hopefully you're
I
doing well. For
appreciate
those of you out
everybody.
there, Robert is also a true crime creator that speaks on true crime in various cases. So make sure you give him a stop by and say hello to him. Kathy's Indie Zone is in the house. Please make sure you show her some love. Nothing half assed. God, I've missed you, nothing half assed. I got to stop by and watch your funny videos again. Like, she does some of the best funny videos I've ever seen. Just
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh my gosh, she does. She cracks me up with her stuff.
I think she's the one that does the Nancy disgrace, right?
Uh-huh. Yep. Oh
So,
yeah, she always has something good to say. I crack up. I love her.
and real quick, I'll answer this as we're moving through because he has asked this before. Brian's Ramblings,
Yes.
also AKA Dan Smith. How do we get a new judge? You have to win an appeal process, and they have to deem that it's going to go back to trial. So at this point, I want to give it what I feel as though is a 0.0% chance of ever seeing an appeal, much less a new judge. And it does look as though Robert did another super chat for
Oh,
$2. Definitely appreciate that, Robert.
yes. Thank you, Robert. So
And
even if he would get new counsel or anything, he would still be stuck with Hitler.
so, first of all, it's got to work its way through. It's got to go through Jeff Nye first.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Nye handles anything on the actual appeal front. So, good luck getting through that to begin with. But then from there, what happens is it would have to go through an appeals court, and they would even have to deem his appeal worthy, which means that they would have to accept the plea first, hear the plea, and then at that point, they would refer it back to Judge Hippler's court, which then could be dictated that Brian Kober is going to, request to again be moved out of that court, different judge, which I'm telling you, this is some massive amounts of work and it takes 20 years. I mean,
Okay.
it's nothing fast. Even if you venture over and you go look at the Innocence Project, you're going to realize that most people wait 20, 25, 30 years for their stuff to start flowing through. So
Oh,
I
wow.
don't see anything ever coming of this. I don't. So uh,
Pebbles, I think he has till September 3rd. Is that the
yeah,
deadline? I think it is.
he's got a little bit more time left on his 42 days or whatever it might be. But you have to remember the 42 days is not a legitimate 42 days. He's got to get it in submitted before that for them to even really even consider it. The 42 days is for them to acknowledge it. So he's got to get it in before that. And if he doesn't, then they're just gonna let it go by and just not even acknowledge it. So I
Okay.
don't want to say that it's over though, Christy. I know
Yeah.
Brian's asking if it's over. I don't want to clarify this as over because I don't think anything's ever truly over, especially with the nonsense of this case. But let me just say it's in a position right now where it's going to be a long time before things begin maneuvering in a better direction for Brian. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think there'll be more of the like documents in that drop like we have been getting? I mean, do you think Hitler, or should I say, do you think Hitler's going to take his time at that, or do you think he'll get them out pretty quickly?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think he's going to be in a rush, but I think things will eventually begin working their way out and into the open.
Now, does he have to wait kind of till like after September 3rd and all that, maybe before he could
On some
release
of the
some of
stuff,
them?
yeah, there's some of the stuff, and then I'm going to tell you. Let me say I think it's opinion, but it's really not opinion. He's going to have to wait for the Fed approval too, because Brian Kober could potentially still look at federal charges, and he could still potentially be being investigated by the feds. If that's the case, then Hitler's going to have to be careful with a lot of the stuff that was sealed coming unsealed,
Okay.
especially when it comes to medical stuff and things of that nature. Um, I mean, this is just, patience is a virtue when it comes to things like this, and none of us have it because we want answers. But the thing is, even when this stuff comes out, Christy, we're not going to have any answers.
No, no.
And you're
I
not going to see anything come out from the feds. The feds are not going to release any information of their investigation, what they had against Brian Koberger. They're not putting that stuff out there, and that's where a lot of your key information is going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I tried to FOIA request the feds on something with Brian Koberger. Let me tell you, it wasn't a pleasant return of response at all. Not whatsoever. Not whatsoever. I felt like I was back in the joint again. Like, send me to prison. I was treated better there. So
I debated on them. I didn't do one because I was actually kind of worried about what the response would be.
yeah,
So,
let me tell you, it
uh,
wasn't good. Especially maybe they know who I am, maybe they know my background, or maybe they looked into my background. But let me tell you, the response was definitely like, "Dude, we know who you are. Shut your mouth. Move on."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't dig over here at all, or else we're gonna start digging into you. And it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
yep,
I'll
I'm
just,
good.
I'm good. I don't have anything right now, but I don't know what you can dig up from the past. So let's just leave this alone.
They're the feds. You never know.
Well, the feds they have no timetables. They
Yeah,
can charge you at any point in time. There's no, you got to be charged within 3 years or else they can't charge. Oh, the feds can do it whenever the heck they want, and they do. They wait
yeah.
for the wrong time. They wait for the worst time, and they come get you. So,
Oh,
but Chrissy, I think we've had a great show. I think we'll wrap it up for the night. And it's been such a pleasure working with you. I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait
yeah,
to do it
I
again.
I really enjoyed this tonight. You definitely are helping with my anxiety with this. Each time I do this, less I get. And I was worried with you. I don't know. I just had real bad, but it wasn't that bad. I liked it. I can't wait to do it again. And
You never have to worry. I scare everybody. Like, I don't think I've been on a panel that it's gone where everybody felt comfortable.
oh,
I mean, I'm joining a panel on Thursday, just so everybody out there knows. I'm going to be hopping over with Pete, Murder Metal Mayhem, and Devil's Advocate with Lee. I think they're calling themselves Devil's Mayhem now.
oh my.
The combo that they've been working really well together.
Yeah.
They've been doing some amazing stuff, and they've invited me to come over on Thursday and join them. So that'll be 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you really want to see a wild and crazy panel, I'm sure that one's going to get interesting. So I may
Yeah.
just be mute. I may just stay quiet during that one. But
Yeah. Oh, I like Pete and I like DA, so I definitely.
I haven't had a lot of interaction with Lee yet with Devil's Advocate. I've stopped in once or twice in his channel to show some love and some support. But as many out there as you know, Christy, I'm really good friends with Pete behind the scenes. Like, we are good buddies, and I'm excited anytime I get the opportunity to just swap conversation with them and talk. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here, Ro and Dan and Twizzle and Nina and Cheryl,
A big
Robert,
shout out to Nina.
Bree.
I hope, Nina, I hope you're doing well. I know you and I haven't had the opportunity to talk in a long time. I'm proud of you. I hope you're doing well and keep moving forward. Think about you. I think about you behind the scenes, even though I don't ever say anything. I send you all the love I possibly can. So I hope you're doing well.
I usually keep in contact, me and Nina, but it's been a few weeks now. We haven't got to talk, so it was good to see her and chat.
I'm horrible when it comes to communication. Like, I am so bad. Even Lucky said something to me the other day, and Pete has been trying to call me for days. And I finally called him back, and he's like, "Dude, like, it'd be nice to talk every once in a while." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. One day, we'll do it one day soon. Don't worry."
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Uh,
I want people to know if I don't if I'm not right on top of the communication, just know I am horrifically bad when it comes to communication. I'm horrible.
I
Horrible,
can
horrible.
verify that. It takes them forever.
I am bad. I am very, very bad. I see your message and it still takes me a month to get back to you. Like, it's not that I don't like you. I just don't respond well.
Thank you, Kathy. And you keep doing what you're doing too. You're right. This case does need the attention, and we just got to keep questioning. I mean, what else can we do? Just keep
Yeah,
questioning.
the one thing that I hope to bring value to the mix with all of you great minds and your good voices and all the hard work you guys put in is I just want to keep focus myself on the system itself, that it's ran appropriately, and I want to continue to speak upon the narratives being spread in such an incorrect way by major players like mainstream media. I've watched some of the garbage that they put out, both on what's Brian Coburger facing in the penitentiary, and they bring on these clowns to try to explain it, and it's like, can you guys just have me on panel once? Just bring me up, Ashley. Bring me up, Nancy, and I'm going to set you guys straight. Like, you guys are clowns when it comes to this stuff. So don't believe everything you hear, ladies and gentlemen. Don't believe
And
everything you hear.
Angel D, did you really have to say that? Because you know that song is going to be in my head now. I avoid saying Scott's name so that does not come in my head. The song, Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. I forget how it goes, but every time I see Scott in chat, everybody says that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just seen her say it again. I'm like, now that song is going to be in my head all night. Thank you.
So I definitely I want to say thank you to everybody, Twizzle Stick and everybody, Angel D, Scott Metalhead, everybody that's been here. We give you all the love that we possibly can, all the appreciation. Thank you for those that showed the love and the support for Christy and her channel. I'll make sure I get with her to keep her up to date with everything. And Christy, I sure hope that you and I get to do this again very, very soon. I hope we make this a regular.
I do too. I do. I think that would be awesome, and I would be honored to do that. And thank you all for your donations. That really means a lot to me right now. Thank you.
You guys are amazing. We're going to say our goodbyes. We'll see you again very, very soon. You guys all have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.